guys, welcome back! The Rambo movie franchise was always a nice subject for video game developers to adapt and bring that armored mayhem to consoles and home computers. So, in this episode of the PixelThing, we'll be taking a look at the titles based in this 80s action movie hero. The very first video game was an action RPG for the MSX and only available in Japan. It was developed and published by PXTNG Video Corporation and it was just named Rambo. All good, except that this one was based on the second movie, First Blood Part 2. So from this moment forward, the choice of titles for all Rambo-based video games was just confusing. PXTNG Video Corporation attained the rights to develop video games based on the Rambo movie series and publish them in Japan. And in this one, the main objective is to rescue a girl from captivity. Just like in the movie. Wrong. Why couldn't we just save her from being killed? That's what happens in the movie. That should be one of the objectives in this game. We start with only a knife, but as the game progresses, several other weapons can be collected, even a rocket launcher. So we'll be blowing buildings, shooting a lot of enemies and solving puzzles in this suicidal mission that has as well a few different endings depending on how you save the girl. Hey, there she is! Wait, is she topless? How a DOS game based in this awesome action movie should look like. What is this? Text? A text adventure based in a full-packs action movie? Mindscape was out of their minds when they thought that this would work. It follows the main story of the movie, the capturing and torturing of Rambo and even the helicopter scene. All this in text! There's no graphics whatsoever. We have to imagine all this, but it's quite easy if you've watched the movie. Nonetheless, death awaits us at every corner. We have to figure out the puzzles, typing words and using sentences like look at, shoot gun at, use knife on, etc. Good old days of text adventures that by 1985 should be dead and buried already! Obviously, that Ocean Software would get the home computer license to adapt the second movie of the franchise for the ZX Spectrum, Commodore 64 and Amstrad CPC. So by 1985, Rambo First Blood Part 2 came along and somewhat pleased the fans of the movie. Well, maybe only the owners of a Commodore 64 were pleased. The other versions were complete rubbish. In this kind of commando-style gameplay, we need to rescue some POWs. Starting with only knives, rapidly we're able to acquire a machine gun and a bazooka. With all this arsenal, we're now more confident to break into the enemy camp, rescue only one of the POWs, just like in the movie, and escape to the north of the camp and get to the chopper! Now, here's the flaw. In the movie, we couldn't reach the chopper. Rambo is captured and tortured. But in this, being a video game, we enter the helicopter, fly back to the camp and save the rest of the POWs. Again in the helicopter with all the prisoners, we must outmaneuver an enemy chopper. Just don't know why the blades keep on disappearing. Is this kind of alien technology that was left behind in Vietnam? The game is fairly short, but it's quite fun to play, blowing stuff up with our bazooka. And the C64 music is really awesome, with a pretty good rendition of the Rambo theme. The Sega Master System video game based on Rambo First Blood Part 2 is a poor clone of Commando and Ikari Warriors. The characters move slow and get frequently caught in the scenery. It's a two-player action game featuring Rambo and Zane. Who the hell is Zane? Rambo's twin brother. The only difference is in the color of the headband, so he looks and plays exactly like Rambo. So let's just blow some tents and rescue hostages to be able to get more firepower. It's a challenging game, but not a fun one. There are 6 levels to face, but in the 5th we're placed in this kind of city, probably based in the very first movie of the franchise, where we have to kill cops and destroy their cars. The truth is that this wasn't the original idea. Rambo First Blood Part 2 was originally released in Japan under the name Ashura, with slightly different looking characters, one bald and the other with a ponytail. Sega saw that they could alter Ashura and adapt it to a Rambo themed game. So they purchased the movie's license, changed a few sprites, added a Rambo tune in the title screen and released it in the United States. For Europe, the game went through another cosmetic transformation and was released under the name Secret Commando, incorporating elements from both Rambo and Ashura, and one of the most awful covers ever made for a video game. And it says Secret Command and not Secret Commando. This is so weird. Super Rambo Special. What an awful title for a video game. It sounds like a burger. And what's so special about it? Is it the stealth elements implemented? Again, another video game based on the second movie, First Blood Part 2, developed by PXTNG Video, remember them? And again, with some RPG elements thrown in. In this one, we sneak around the jungle looking for keys to open huts, and a few minutes later we're contemplated with the presence of Cô Bao, the Vietnamese girl that we rescued in the first game, now with her clothes on. So, she's here to help us out shooting stuff from time to time. Super Rambo Special is a pretty bad early stealth action RPG, difficult to control, boring and pretty forgettable. Again, those guys at PXTNG Video missed completely the chance of bringing a good Rambo game to the NES. They've replaced once again the pure frenetic action from First Blood Part 2 and turned it into a Zelda 2 clone. However, it manages to follow the movie's plot quite well. Right at the beginning of the game, and according to the movie, we're given the option to accept the mission or stay in prison. If we choose to stay in prison, nothing happens. Trotman tells us over and over that the game won't start until we accept. Who puts this kind of option in a video game? Once started, we walk around the base talking to people and eventually end up in the jungle fighting our way with just a knife, killing a lot of snakes, spiders, bats, etc, etc. Couldn't they just make a clone of Contra? This game right here is a complete disrespect to the Rambo movie franchise and should have been rejected by Nintendo's quality control or something. There's even a side mission where we need to rescue a boy from a giant spider. What is it, Frodo? I don't remember seeing Sylvester Stallone killing giant spiders in the movie. Just avoid this one at all costs. Rambo 3 had a better approach to the movie in which it is based, if we, of course, exclude the Sega Master System port that was developed by Sega as being a light gun rail shooter just like Operation Wolf and Thunderbolt. The other versions developed in 1988 by Ocean Software had their best moments on the Amiga and C64 machines. A DOS version was also available that plays the same and has some nice music also. So in this overhead exploration game we infiltrate a prison trying to find our mentor Trotman, plant bombs and just stay away from the stupid guards that will only shoot us if we cross their line of sight. The levels are long and quite boring, so try it if you're curious. A year later, in 1989, Sega redeemed themselves and released a Mega Drive Genesis fast-paced action game that is really enjoyable to play and with a similar Mercs gameplay. I really enjoyed it, and for a first-year title for the newly arrived 16-bit Sega console, it's quite okay. Only the weapon selection could be more direct and simple to operate. Still, in 1989 there was a Rambo III arcade cabinet from Taito, similar to others already seen by then. And it's so awesomely difficult and hilarious when we realize that in some stages we have no chance of survive with that so many stuff being thrown at us that in the end we walk away from it with a smile in our faces. 20 years later, by 2008, Rambo was again in cinemas, this time around with this plain and simple title, Rambo. Shouldn't they've called it Rambo IV? So this year there was a new Sega arcade cabinet based in First Blood Part 2 and Rambo 3, where we simply have to kill everything that stands in front of us. And what about this new movie, the fourth in the series? Well, there's absolutely nothing from it, just good old scenes from those good old movies. And this shoot-on-rails type of arcade game has some great ideas and situations that certainly gave some inspiration for the Polish studio Teon that 6 years later, in 2014, brought Rambo the video game. The game starts so amazingly well with First Blood's soundtrack playing in the background, and I simply love that soundtrack. This is another shoot-on-rails arcade game with beautiful graphics and can be a really awful game for everyone that never saw the first 3 movies. But for real fans of Rambo, this is a complete interactive package of sound and graphics that places us right in the middle of the most iconic scenes from those 3 films. It recreates action sequences from each movie throughout 1980, where we get a manhunt from the local police, get arrested and being sent back to Vietnam to rescue POWs, and travel to Afghanistan to try and rescue Colonel Samuel Troutman. As a fan of 80s action movies and in particular the Rambo franchise, I've had a blast with this game. It sums up the very best of the first 3 movies, and I always imagined how awesome it would be to slip into the skin of John Rambo and blast my way out of those incredible near-death situations. Finally, someone thought of that, but it's sad to know that the press didn't share the same opinion and simply crushed the game. Still, I recommend Rambo the video game for all fans of this iconic 80s action movie hero. So guys, hope you've enjoyed this episode of the PixelThing, where we took this journey from 1985 to 2014, reviving all Rambo-themed video games that somewhat pleased the fans. It's true that it's a kind of misunderstood franchise, and all those titles shown in this video could have been a lot better. But good or bad, they've all got something to say and deserve a place in video games history. Feel free to comment below and share your thoughts about this iconic movie franchise and its related video games. Also check my latest episodes just by clicking on those rectangles with moving pictures inside of them. Also, like, share and subscribe to grab all my weekly content that I upload for the greatest fans of retro gaming and stuff. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all next week.
And remember, I'm your worst nightmare. Hey guys, welcome back, 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 welcome back.